Hungry. We're so excited for all of you to be here. This is a Leudic production where we talk to young entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, just young people doing really cool things and going on their own adventures. For all of you who don't know, we are Leudic's co-founders. I'm Rai and this is Kara, and today we're also your co-hosts. Leudic is a new e-commerce clothing brand that specializes in cute, comfy, and just super cozy clothing for the really modern wearers.
Yes. So today on Young and Hungry, we are joined by the very amazing, very insightful Nasko Tenev and Isabel Gomez. They are the co-founders of a phone case business called Woke Case. So Isabel is studying international economics and modern languages at Georgia State University, and Nasko is actually studying computer science at Princeton University. And so Woke Case is a business that sells really well-priced phone cases, and for each case sold, $5 is actually donated to charity. So it's super amazing cause. And I know that they have some great insight for you guys.
So before we bring them in, we just wanted to talk about what Young and Hungry is. If you are a brand new listener, we just wanted to introduce the show to you. Young and Hungry just speaks to young creatives, professionals, and entrepreneurs who are going out and forging their path and just doing something that's breaking the mold. And as a young person, we've realized that it's often hard to be taken seriously, and there's a lot of obstacles that come along with starting a brand new business or being young in the industry. So this podcast or interview series is just to put a spotlight on those really cool individuals who are going through this, and they're here to talk about their obstacles, what it has been like, and just all the amazing things that go with starting a new business or starting a new career. So with that being said, let's bring on Nasko and Isabel, and let's see what they have to say.
Yes.
All right, thank you guys so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. We've been trying to get people of all different industries and companies just to get our viewers a more diverse selection of young entrepreneurs. So thank you again for coming on. So just to start off our show, how about both of you just tell us a little bit about yourselves as well as the company and how you got started?
Well, hello, my name is Isabel, and so Nasko and I have been best friends since literally freshman year, and we're on the same team. We're in a bunch of clubs, we're in student council together. We started a club together called Real Talk, which talks about things going on around the world and intersectionality, and we always wanted to take it a next step. And over this the beginning of the year, I started seeing a few phone case businesses popping up on Instagram. I would just follow them and people would tag them, and I was like, this is interesting. I wonder if how they make it. And then on TikTok they started showing how they make it, and I was like, wait a minute, we can make that as well. So I was I texted Nasko and I was like, we should do this and make a part of it donations, so that we could donate to different organizations and spread it out and let people choose where their money goes, because I haven't seen that before really, where it allows the people that are to choose what they want. So I talked to him, and he was really interested, and we kind of just started from there. And yeah, he handles the other portions, the website and a lot of the brains and the money and investment and stuff like that. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Nasko?
Yeah, so pretty much currently a sophomore at Princeton, and me and Isabel were actually a year apart. So just keeping the connection. She was a senior in high school as I was a freshman. And still stayed best friends, of course. So reconnecting after I came back because of COVID, and then when she told me the idea, I was like,
Did it get stuck?
Yeah,
there we go.
For me, it wasn't necessarily about money or the business. It was more about, like Isabel said, having people choose where their money goes, and just picking organizations that aren't so mainstream and on the news you see them all of them exposed for not actually donating that. So we do put a lot of effort into choosing those organizations, and like Isabel mentioned, I'm very much a computer science person, so I love to make the website and help her out with just logistics, finances, and whatnot. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's super interesting, actually. Like, totally know what you're saying about the charities. Like, part of our new collection that just dropped is we donate a little bit of money to something called the Coalition for Rainforest Nations. And literally, like, we were searching the internet for one that we like something to donate to that we know 100% of the money is going to go to the actual cause. It's so frustrating. I feel like, they like they sell you a little, sometimes it's a little bit not transparent, so like that. But why don't you guys talk a little bit about how you choose the organizations, which ones you've chosen, a little bit about that, so that our viewers or listeners can hear a little bit of more in depth about the charity aspect of that.
I can start. So initially, we just have some personal ties to some of the organizations. I know, so for this month, for the August, basically our system is every month we switch the organizations so that there's like a more diverse, because we don't want to have like a list of like 20 organizations and people would have to choose. We want to rotate them so everyone gets like picked and like a decent amount goes towards them. So for this month, for our launch month of August, it was the Center for Black Women's Wellness in Atlanta. So that ties to both Black Lives Matter and women's rights. We have the Unidos por Venezuela. So that's like for the Venezuelan humanitarian crisis, and Isabel is Venezuelan. So that's like a personal one that she just knows that is good. We have the Yemen Foundation, which has a pretty good record of like donating 100% of their profits to the cause. And we have Coral Gardeners, which is a much more mainstream one, but I personally did a lot of research into them, knowing that so how they work is they plant like a coral in the ocean, and there's like a big thing about like corals dying, and that produces like a big amount of the world's oxygen, even though it's in the ocean. So it's like for every like $30, I believe, they plant a coral and we can name it, and it's like very personal. So
that's so cool.
Wow, that's amazing. We definitely wanted like philanthropy to be part of our company as well. So even like before this collection, we have this plant a tree things. You can like pay $1 and plant a tree when you check out. So even like making something really simple, I'm a firm believer that be that sustainability or philanthropy or anything of that, the burden of that should not just fall on the consumer, because a lot of times stores are like, well, you can do it. You can bring your paper bag, or you can bring your cloth bag. And it shouldn't just fall on the consumer. The producer should be doing something as well. And especially since we are creating, like you guys are creating cases for phones, and then we're creating clothing, we're not always recycling every part of that. Like it's really hard to be 100% sustainable. So the fact that we both are doing something that is philanthropic in nature is really great. And I'm so supportive that you guys are doing this. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's super cool also that you have like diverse charities for people to choose from. So is it like you check out and then people get to choose, correct? That's how it works?
Yeah. And I think another big part that helps it is that we ask like people that follow us to help us make the decision. So at the beginning of the month, we'll be like, how do you guys feel about this organization? And when we like release it at the end of the month for the next month, and that's how it's gonna kind of be working. But we'll be posting like polls and just interacting with our followers is really important, we found, because they like being a part of the decision making. And like I know I chose Venezuela because like that's where I'm from, and like that ties really close to like my community and my friends, and they obviously want to donate to that place as well. But if someone feels like their country's not getting enough attention on the media, which is also another issue, or like different parts of like intersectionality, then we want them to feel like their voice is heard. And that's really why we really wanted to switch it out. But it can stay, like if like let's say people really want to donate to Yemen because it's really bad right now, we can keep it for next month as well, but we will be rechecking every single month.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm like, I think that it's really cool that you guys involve your customers in your decision making. Like, I think that makes one like much more of like a community feel around your brand. I know that that's something that, like Ryan and I have talked a lot about, like that exact sentiment, because a lot of big brands, I feel like they just feel it's like you buy, they get profit, very cut and dry, same as other businesses. And like when we decided that we wanted to, grow Leudic, we decided like we wanted a brand with values, because we're attaching our name to something, and that's like very important, that we stand for more than just like we're making money, so which is why like this whole segment exists, because this is a mission that we believe in, and like I just think that it's super cool that you guys are, like very in touch with the community and your customers and things like that.
Thank you.
And
yeah,
I think one big thing that also ties to that, I think like customer involvement is so important, but another thing is also like the transparency, just like, like everything you say on the social media is just like clear, and like people can understand it. Like me and Isabel take like so much time to be like, oh, well, the customer like know what this is, like getting in their point of view.
Right.
Like in the beginning, we said we were gonna donate 30% of like our profits, but then again, like what does profits mean? Like, are we gonna delete expenses? And it just is like kind of frustrating because we don't like, it's hard for us to figure out what that number is, and also the customer doesn't know what amount they donate. So then we decided to change our platform and be like $5 of every case you like that you buy will go towards the organization that you choose. So it's a lot more transparent, and just the customer can understand what they're giving to the organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, to go a little bit more broad, we just want to know, you know, with this whole overall business model that you guys have, what made you guys choose phone cases over other products per se?
Well, I kind of talked a little bit about how like I started seeing it on TikTok and on Instagram. Like my friend posted, she's like a small influencer, Natalia, and she posted on her story, and it was like a case, and she was like, I just got this case from my friend and she made it. And I was like, she made it. So then I went on her account, and it's called Daft Pretty Cases, and it kind of blew up on TikTok a while ago, and I saw it and I was like, oh, it's really interesting. So I liked that she could customize it, so she would design them herself and then she would make them, and sometimes it would be like images or things from the internet, but I was like, there's so many cool things you can do if you just design it yourself. And I haven't really done like art in a long time, but I've been really interested in it. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on Procreate and like designing, and I just wanted to dabble in it, so it gave us enough creative area to do whatever we wanted, and also let people choose what they want and see feedback and what designs work and what don't. And I thought it was just flexible, and it's a lot smaller of a product, so we don't have to put like a ton of money into one of them. We just have to buy the supplies that allow us to make it. And yeah, we just researched what we needed to go into it, which was like the heat press, the printer, like all these different types of things. And it ended up being something we could actually invest. We had enough money to invest, that it wasn't something too big.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. So I think that also like what's fun about that is sometimes like the best opportunities are ones that you kind of stumble across. Like, you know what I mean? It seems like something like fell into your lap in the universe, like, you know, everything was working out for you. That's super cool.
Yeah, and I completely relate to wanting to create your own products, because when Kara and I started this business, it was, where do the products come from? Do we buy it from someone? Do we design it? And at least for me, being a fashion student, it was just, I don't know, like I was like, if I put my name behind something, it has to be my work. Like I can't put my name behind something that's not mine or not ours. And I wanted that to be very clear. And I wanted like to show our creativity and where our standards and goals and all of those things were. So it was really interesting, even for us, like we're both still growing, like with every collection we're learning new things, new softwares, and it's just, I think it's more fulfilling too at the end, knowing that like it was so crazy for me when like the first sweatshirt came in the mail and I was like, oh my god, like this is something I designed, like this is so like wild and people are buying it. So I think it's amazing that you are constantly growing and like went back to your art, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. Nasko and I literally, when we printed our first case, we took the paper and we posted it on the wall, and we put a little piece of tape on it, and we wrote first case. And it was just it was such a nice moment to be like, we made this, like we designed this, like this is our product. And he has it on his phone case. I don't know if you can show it if you have it. And that's our first case we ever printed.
Wow.
They look amazing. They're so professional. They look so amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you both touched on this a little bit, but just to kind of, it's a two-part question. One is, why did you decide to add this philanthropic side to your business? Why was it important to you? And also, why did you decide to go into a partnership? Because you both definitely have like different skill sets, and you both could have had your own companies, but you decided to have this partnership. So just talk a little bit about those two things.
Yeah, I guess I can answer like the first part for the philanthropic side. Personally, I don't know, I'm like a big, how do you say, like avid advocate of, you know, like leaving a mark on the world. And that's like very cliche for us to say, but like, you know, like leaving the world better than like you came to it. And I think that I've just been looking for something, and I was thinking like maybe my career will be that, maybe I can work in a nonprofit. But once like Isabel came to me with this idea, I was like, oh my god, I can literally like start now, because we are giving giving customers opportunity to like just refocusing the money to like a good cause and not like capitalism.
Right.
Yeah.
Something else. Oh, sorry. Can you?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. So, well, kind of when it started, like the snowball effect was probably around May, and obviously the whole Black Lives Matter thing was going on. I was like, I felt so frustrated. I was like, there's nothing like I don't know what to do. Obviously, I was making calls. I was like, I couldn't leave my house because of my grandma, so I couldn't go on like on not strikes, but like I couldn't go on protests. So I was like, I don't know what to do, and I wanted to find a way to raise more money than just like my money, and I wanted other people to be able to help. So that's kind of, I always had the idea of woke, and we kind of started on it, but that's kind of what pushed us to be like, okay, we need to do something, and this is just one area that can receive help, like the whole like Black Lives Matter, and just like all these Black organizations that need the funding that aren't getting the funding because their name's not out there, no one's partnering with them, and no one really knows about them, or like some of these companies lack marketing skills, so we can bring that to them as well. And that's kind of why I've always really liked marketing. I've always liked like the business side, and I just felt like we could help them and they could help us too, because the brand is also really fun, and we're learning and we're young, and this is when we can actually put in time for business, because it takes a lot of time. Like we just hit profits like literally today, and which is really fun, exciting. But and it's only been a month, and it's just been crazy, and the amount of prep work that comes before as well. It's just like, I know not every like nonprofit can do this, and if we can right now, we have the time, then the time is now, physically.
Yeah,
I think Kara and I had this issue with Black Lives Matter as well, because we both wanted our company, well, we released statements and we created content to let everyone know that we stand with this movement, but we had just started our business, and we were like, how do we donate? Like, we're not even making profits for ourselves or for our company. Like, we don't have anything to like give back to the organization. So it was really something that we were struggling with on how to go about that, because we were too small to contribute in that way. But that's why we were like, oh, this collection, let's, make the price point so that you can donate. And so I love that you guys started from the very beginning on how to help, like how to contribute to a more philanthropic endeavor, and not have to worry that you're making that money, but having your customers know you're creating that.
Yeah. I also think that something that I really like that both of you said, and this is just for our viewers and listeners, is like, Nasko said like he didn't know what he could do, when he could do it, maybe it was going to be in his future, his career. And it's one of those things that like, I think all of us are like, oh, I want to give back. I want to help the world, and I want to make a difference one day. But it's like, when is that day ever going to come? Like Rai keeps saying that something she's learned recently is like, you want to start a business, do it now, because there's no better time than now. There's never going to be a perfect time. And like, I think that that's just like, I just wanted to just take a second to pause and like acknowledge, I think that's a really great like message that you guys both have said, is that like for anyone listening or watching, you might want to give back the way that these two amazing people have. You might want to do something else, but like, just even though you're young, or even though, you might not feel like you're in the best place, like just, take one step, and then take the next step, and then take the next step. And like, then all of a sudden you're going to be a month in and have profit, and you're going to, be giving back. I'm sure you guys have given back, a lot of money already to these amazing charities. So I just think that, for anybody listening or watching, like take that message a little bit. And, one point of Young and Hungry is to be able to inspire people that are young and maybe a little bit intimidated, or feel that, an endeavor they might want to try is daunting. And so, take what these two are doing and just like know that you can do it now as well. You were going to say something, Nasko, I think. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I was just going to say, for me personally, also, I'm like a first generation immigrant and low income. So I was just frustrated again with like Black Lives Matter. Like I can't give like that much money away, or just, but I can't find way for other people who are, like I can buy a phone case for myself, and then, if a part of my like buying like goes towards something, I made a small change, even if it's just like $5, and all of this like accumulates too. So that's just like something personal that I think everybody could kind of relate to.
Yeah,
I think going back to what you said about like start now, I think we underestimate how many people we know that actually like care about what we say on social media. Like we throw away the word like influencer a lot, but you don't need that many followers to have people that actually look up to what you say, or like care about your content. Like we just reached also like donation. So we just hit profit, but that's including donations. So sorry, this is hard to explain, but basically like we've just reached $300 with donations. So we took that away from profit. So technically we would be 300 in profit, but we chose to donate that first so that we can build, like, start a solid base. And people see that, and we reach out to everyone, and like our Facebook, on Instagram, like our friends of friends, like we getting, like, our network is so easy to build. You just have to start now. Like if you start saying something like, hey, I'm working on this business with my friend, people will be like, oh, what is it? And they might follow. They might not buy something, but they might tell someone else about it. And we don't think about that a lot. We're like, oh, like no one's gonna buy my product, or like it's hard to get it out there, like I don't want to pay for ads. But just starting with the little steps, and like tagging people on your posts, or using hashtags, like some organizations find us and then they're like, oh, this is really cool, like maybe we can work in the future together. Even you guys reaching out to us, like small businesses help other small businesses, and that's such a great community that you can be a part of if you just start like now.
Yeah. So there's actually something, I attended a webinar about like small business, and like the one big thing that I took away from it was that they said the best way to grow is to collaborate with other businesses. Like that, just exactly that. And also like, first of all, that's a great insight. To be honest with you, Ryan and I have not optimized that the best that we can. And, you know, like that's literally like I'm learning right now from you guys. And, you know, Nasko reached out to me. That was how I originally heard about your guys' business. He reached out to me and was like, hey, Kara, you know, like we haven't connected in a while. Like, I really hope you're doing well. This is my business. And I saw it. And I mean, I immediately followed. I was like, this is so cool. I told my boyfriend about it. And then when we started doing this, I was like, right, these are two, like, this is a great cause. And like, you know, just by you reaching out to me, I've already talked to a few people, somebody that when I met Nasko originally, we actually were with a group of other people, and I had told her about it too, like because she knows Nasko in the same, you know, she met him in the same setting as me. And so just like, I think that's a great way that you can, you know, expand your network. And also it shows connection and that you like care a little bit more. You make it more personal for me to feel like you reached out to me. Like I was like, wow, that's very kind. Like, thank you. So I think that was really smart.
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's very personally connected, like what Isabel mentioned, and like the anecdote, like literally perfect. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, just for the second part of the question, what made you guys want to get into a partnership together?
Well, at first I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm a very like strategical person, and I like plan everything out. And I was like, okay, well, the first step is deciding what the brand's gonna be. Like I knew what I wanted. I wanted it to be called Woke Case. I knew I wanted to do cases and like make it personal. And then I was like, I have to make a website. And I was like, oh, I don't know about making a website. And I was like, who do I know that's really good at websites? And I knew Nasko was really great at websites. He also really cares about what we do. We work together. I think I mentioned a little bit that we had like created a club together. So I knew his work ethic. I knew we connected good, and we could also separate our friendship from the business, which is another topic. Like it's kind of hard to make it when we have work calls. It's just work calls, and we like put a little bit of like comedic relief, or like we talk about some things in between, but we gotta make sure we don't take anything personal, because sometimes you have to make those hard decisions, or like how the money split, how much time how much time each person should be putting into the business, how much money each person should be putting into the business. Like everyone's life is different, everyone has different priorities, and just being able to understand that, yeah, this is my baby. Like I'm going to put everything in. I can't expect Nasko to put everything in too, you know, like he's going to Princeton, he's taking a bunch of hard classes. And like, I just felt so lucky that I have a friend who was willing to put in the work and like wanted to be a part of it. So I reached out to him, and it just kind of clicked. I'm so lucky to be here. Like Nasko's an immigrant, I'm an immigrant. We came here like around the same time. Like there was a huge probability we would never met, and we just became really close friends. And I just couldn't think of anyone else that I would want to do this with. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I remember Isabel reaching out to me, and I was like, you know, what do you see me doing besides like the website, you know? And then I personally felt kind of like, oh, it's like her baby. But then, and for me, it's kind of like a hustle in a sense. But honestly, I always think this, and it's like, I can make it as much of like my experience as possible. Like I can enjoy the process of making it. Like I was saying previously, I was always looking for that thing to help like the world be a better place. And like this just like matched perfectly. And of course, like I will help Isabel like as my best friend. Like, you know, all the decisions in the beginning, she was like, this is the idea, this is da. And I like gave my personal input, then she like bounce back. So it's just really nice. I mean, you guys are also a partnership, so you know, like just bouncing back ideas and seeing like feedback and being like, oh, that's a good idea, or like, oh, I disagree with this, but why? And then I really look into the customer view that sometimes can be overlooked. Like, I'm not saying Isabel overlooks it, but I'm saying like you might forget. Or Isabel, I sometimes forget the customer like sort of perspective, and she would like catch me on that. So just having a person to like also double check with you, like that's something really important in like a partnership and just like a business overall. Because if it's just like a sole proprietorship and just one person, then it's like you can ask feedback from your customers, but it's just like not as personal too.
Yeah. I mean, oh, sorry. Just, I think it works really well, even for Kara and I. It's because we have very different skill sets. And we were literally talking about this yesterday, that we, even though we both could do each other's jobs to a certain degree, but we both thrive in the certain skill set that we chose. And that's why it works. Because Isabel, you talked about friendship and business, because that's definitely a thing. Because Karen and I have been friends since freshman year. I'm like best friends with her brother. So like definitely there's a very personal connection. And then there's business, which is very different. And sometimes Karen and I text every single day, like for most of the day, just about things that are happening, what needs to be done and stuff like that. And like there's been times where something's happened in my life and I've just like forgotten to talk about it because we're just like talking about business constantly. And then like it took me a time where I'm like, wait, like before we were business partners, like we were really close friends, and that comes before this. And like she's always like, there's been times where she's like, okay, right, like let's not talk about business right now, tell me about what happened. And like for me to, like, yeah, like for taking, I'm like, wait, yeah, like it does not matter at this point, like let me like work on that friendship part with you. So like there's definitely a balance. And I think for both of us it just worked because there's obviously like your work ethic needs to match and your ideas need to somewhat match. And even though we don't agree on everything, we've yet hopefully never have, knock on wood, we've never had like a blowout or anything. We've always just like discussed of why one of us doesn't agree and how to move forward and compromise and have the best foot forward for our brand.
Yeah, and also like
Exactly.
none of that's not to say that you can disagree, right? Like you can completely disagree. There are times that I disagree with something Rye does, and there are times she disagrees with something that I do, and that's totally fine. That's normal. But I think that what's important is that, you know, like as a partnership, like you respect each other's opinions, and you're like civil about just the way that you go about it. And I think that like personally, you know, we talk about this a little bit in some other episodes, but like when we started, I came to Rye, like the way that Isabel came to you, I came to Rye, and I was like, listen, I think e-commerce is super cool. I think there's a lot of opportunity, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, we decided she respected what I wanted to do with it. And I think that also another reason that I came to it is because I knew that like, I don't want to do this by myself. And like, I'm actually currently being mentored by somebody, and he literally said, he's like a huge CEO, done all these cool things. And he said like the best collaborations or the best like ideas come from a collaboration, not from a single idea and not from a single person that only has their own thoughts. Because another thing, like, and you guys definitely could offer this just because you guys have talked about your backgrounds, like Ryan and I do come from different backgrounds, and like we're very different in so many ways, more than just our skill sets. And I think that all of that is really great because it just brings different perspectives into everything. And then at the end of the day, I feel confident saying that like we do play devil's advocate on both sides of majority of the decisions that we make, you know, and it's because we feel comfortable bouncing off of each other, just like you guys mentioned. So I think that that's really cool. And I think personally, I love the partnership. I think that it's a great way to, you know, grow something and work on something.
I definitely would say like having someone that you're comfortable talking to is so great. And also like accountability, like keeping each other accountable is such a big thing. And right, just like you mentioned, like sometimes we'll be caught up with work or we'll be caught up with life that we forget one or the other. And Nasko will be like, hey, we should take this day to just be friends, to just talk about what's going on, like you said, or like just to like this hour we're talking about woke only. Like we have special days that we choose, like Saturdays we'll be talking about woke, like especially the days before we launch or things like that. Like you got to be able to organize yourself. And if I wasn't comfortable with Nasko telling him like, oh, I don't have time for this right now, or like I need to do this now because I have this next week, or like my mind's just not at it right, like I can't deal with this right now, then it wouldn't be able to flow as easily and wouldn't be able to like, meet those deadlines. And another thing that this kind of goes to accountability that I think I would like to share with other people is posting dates on your sites or like on your Instagram, or like letting people know like, hey, we're going to launch on this day or at the end of the month, or like putting it out there so that you keep yourself accountable, because you're like, oh, all these people think that I'm going to post Friday, so I better post Friday. Like I need to make these designs, I need to like finalize them, I need to do all these things, because sometimes it looks a lot easier than it actually is. Like to have one final product imagine how many text messages Nasko and I go back and forth between just one design or
Yeah.
like one decision.
Right. Yeah. I have a question. I'm just genuinely curious about something. Did you code your website, or are you hosted on a platform?
Funny thing. So, like, no, we have a host. I feel like coding it from raw is just like,
Yeah.
like I said, like 2 internships and like
Yeah. I was just
coding is
curious.
a really big thing. Like, no.
Okay.
Like, I would take if I do code it, definitely like a lot more personalizable, but I'm somewhat of a perfectionist sometimes. So I'm like, I would not like anything I do. And just small bugs. But yeah, so first we had a platform called Big Cartel. It's pretty big also like on Instagram e-commerce too. But we did have some troubles with that. And now we switched to Shopify and we launched our new website yesterday. So people can actually order from there now and everything should work as smoothly as possible, hopefully. And just, we keep, like Isabel said, like feedback and accountability and what is it? The boundary between business and friendship. I remember this one time, this was like way into mid-August, like we launched and everything, and I was still in the midst of my 2 internships. So I was like, there were just some days like Isabel would like text me and I just like couldn't look at that or something, but like I also would because I'm really like passionate and want to help out. So I just got like frustrated with myself that like I couldn't answer. So we would just have like some discussions about like boundaries and stuff like that. And I think it just not only helps like you as a business person, but also like you as friends, because it's like, oh, like you're comfortable sharing that because we've known each other for like 4+ years now. And yeah, all of that just is really good to have with somebody like you're good with. And yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Shopify so far? I'm just curious. We love
Um,
it. We're on Shopify too.
I mean, I like it, but the nice thing about Big Cartel is that it was $10 a month, and I
Yep.
think that the custom sets are a little bit nicer. Like it looks kind of more put together. There's not as many like options. Like, so Big Cartel I would recommend for someone that has an LLC and already has their like EIN or their number, their business number, because it requires that for you to set up PayPal, and you can only do a few. That doesn't allow you to have as many options. And Shopify is $30 a month, which
Yep.
you guys would know. So it's pretty expensive, and it takes a percentage of every single product you sell. So like that's been kind of, it's obviously higher up, like it's more expensive, and it I like how it looks now, but it definitely, like Nasko was struggling trying to like get some of the specific things we want, because everyone wants their website to like actually represent exactly what, like their vision, like their brand, and like there's more customization, but since it's different, switching was kind of like a little bit of a hassle.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just did it today and we've gotten good feedback, and there's a bunch of things you can do on there. It's just obviously a different platform, but what's really great is you can link it with Instagram and Facebook, and it just makes your life so much easier, and we enjoy it. Yeah.
The capabilities on it is, so for anyone listening or watching who's thinking about starting a business, if you're thinking about Shopify, one thing that I will say that I've loved is there's an app store. And have you guys checked out the apps? Yeah. So like the app store just has the most phenomenal capabilities. There's literally hundreds of thousands of apps that you can add, like anything you think. I literally like Ryan can give a testament of this. Like I will literally text her like 10 apps at a time. I'm like, I'm just having fun. I look at all these different things we can.
Check it out.
Yeah, there's just so much to do. So yeah.
That's literally
No,
me.
for sure. I literally
like she like she said, she saw a lot of phone case stuff on TikTok, and there's actually like a lot of like Shopify stuff like on TikTok, and she would like send me like 10 messages at a time for it, and I would be like, oh my god, I'm working right now, but like these are great ideas. And like even right now, like I think we're using probably like 4 apps, but definitely like we're gonna like expand. Like I think
Cool. Well, just to move on a little bit, you guys have multiple designs of the cases that you guys sell. And so we want to hear a little bit about your design process and how do you choose the designs that you guys pick and sell and create?
Well, we personally use Procreate to design all of our cases. And Procreate is like a $10 app, and like a lot of creatives use it, especially to make like anything, like literally anything.
It's very good for typefaces and logos, and it's great.
Exactly those. It's such a great app. Like you make your money's worth off that app, even if you don't sell anything. Right. They have so many options, like so many brushes. The customization's crazy, and you can trace different things. So for example, like let's say I was for the cow print. I chose a cow print because it's very popular right now. So you have to kind of keep up with like what's on trend right now, like what things you like. I always get feedback from friends, from Nasko. I'll make so let's say I'm doing the cow print. I look up cow print on Google, and then I look at like a free image, and I kind of look at it and I trace to see what the cow print shape is kind of like, because you always have an idea of cow print in your head, but then it doesn't look exactly what you want it to be. So then I would trace it, and from once I have that one like section, then I can start designing it how exactly I want. And that's something specific for like prints, and then I choose different colors, and then we have to decide what colors look better together, what's going to look better. We put polls on Instagram to see what people would like, on Twitter, things like that. And for other designs, we'll just have ideas and play around with the app. Like one of our more popular ones called Ethereal, sorry. And I was just playing around with the app, like with the little like swirl thing, and it just came out really cool. And I was like, Nasko, look at this. And it was like the second thing I'd ever designed on Procreate ever. So sometimes you just stumble upon things. Sometimes you just find what's like kind of popular and put your little spin on it, and you can literally customize it as much as you want.
That's super cool.
Adding on, all of the designs so far posted on our website are made by Isabel. So I have like, they're amazing, all of them. Just a lot of time and like soul, heart, passion, everything put into them. It took me like a little bit longer to actually get into the designing process, but I do agree with Isabel. It is very much about experimentation. Like for me at least, like, okay, maybe I have an idea on Pinterest. Like I have a couple of designs running in my head right now that like we save like on a shared folder, and I would open Pinterest and like kind of sketch from that. But then let's say like maybe I don't like how it turned out, so I would just like switch up. She said about like the swirl thing, and then like one of our really popular cases, Ethereal, is like based off of that. Like I do that with some designs, and sometimes it doesn't look good, sometimes it does. Or there was this one where I was just playing with brushes, and then I added one more aspect, and I sent to her, and she was like, oh my God, like give me several variations of this, and this is a case. So we haven't released like some of the ones that I have made yet, and we're working on that. So there's definitely going to be more coming. But a lot of it is experimentation, having maybe some just like an inspiration from somewhere, and we personally use Pinterest or like even like some social media stuff. But one more thing I think is also, we have a Black Lives Matter one, and now we have the LGBT one that's called like Love Has No Gender, and so that can be another inspiration. It's like just a cause, and it's like, how do you portray that cause on like a case that's like you can put like on your phone, and you can like represent it, and you're like, I'm all for it. Because especially with clothing and like even a phone case, like it represents your identity. So truly, you know, asking yourself like, what would like you want to like wear or have on your phone that others will see.
Right. Yeah, that's go ahead.
So sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't really like the way this looks, and I'll show someone, they're like, this is my aesthetic, like I love this idea, and like I was really about to delete that print because I didn't like the colors. So sometimes you have to like not be so hard on yourself, and that's why we started relying more on the Instagram and the polls, because I will delete a design that I'm like, oh, I don't really like this anymore, and it'll literally be like someone's like favorite thing they've ever seen in their life. So keep your eyes open, your minds open, asking different people like different perspectives. And yeah, I'm always have my eye out for like different design ideas. Like I'll look at a book and I'll be like, that's a cute type of like cover, and then I'll try to recreate it. And like we'll probably have like 40 designs, and right now we only have 18 up like that we've made. So you're just constantly creating, constantly making, constantly asking people.
Yeah. It was like 2 weeks ago, I think 2.5 weeks ago, I was like, I'd gone to sleep. I was like thinking, like that's when I have like my best thoughts. It's like right before I go to sleep, like my head, I'm just like thinking. And so we have our like next collection after the denim one. So we were thinking what to do because we had the denim ideas, and we were like, okay, this is great. But we were having like our next sweatshirt and shirt collection. We didn't know what we were going to do. And so I was thinking, and suddenly it like came to me, and I got up and I texted Kara, and I was like, I'm half asleep, but this is what I'm thinking. These are some images. I think this could be cool. What do you think? And then we created a mood board, and like, so now we're like working on our next collection, but it was just like, oh my God, it just came to me, and it's going to happen, and look how it looks, and all of the things. So I can totally relate, just like getting inspiration.
I also think that what you just mentioned, Isabel, is like a really insightful point for anyone who is trying to sell something. So what I mean by that is like, same webinar, they told me, the guy said, you know, you might like what you want to sell, but if nobody else likes it, then it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't really matter what you like. And he said it a bit harsher than that, honestly. He was like, it doesn't really matter, because the truth is that you're not the consumer, and you need to do what the consumer is going to want. And that's why like every single account or business or something that we've talked to give, like, do you guys have any advice for a small business? Like a ton of them have literally just said, like, get reviews, get feedback, you know, from customers or just potential customers or just people that, you know, like, get feedback on this kind of stuff, because, you know, like, that's the best way that you're going to nail, like, that's the best way you're going to like optimize the market and, you know, sell, like, create something that's going to sell for sure. So I think just like for anyone who is listening to this and wants to start a business, whether that's phone cases or something else, like, feedback is a very, very important aspect that you need to try and incorporate. And definitely, like, I know that Ryan, I have some room for us to grow on that area for sure. Yeah.
So moving our conversation along, what has been the biggest thing that you have learned through this business, and what has been the biggest challenge?
I definitely think this was like, I think just recently mentioned, keeping an open mind. Don't take things personally when it comes to like, back like we were talking about like disagreements. And I just know that, you know, like me and Isabel would give feedback to each other as like business people, but that like, again, that boundary between like personal and business, like nothing we say is like pertain, you know, like some things I love with you as a friend, but might be a little bit just like, you know, it's not the best, like when it comes to our business. So just like, yeah, not taking things personally and being open to like feedback, like as a business owner too.
Yeah.
I would say like being a business owner, like your official titles, like you're always learning, like you're always trying to figure out like how the market's doing, like what products are going to do better, what people want, like what apps you can use to edit something for Instagram if you're doing all that yourself. Like if you're marketing yourself, like you always got to be learning new marketing skills. Like I'm like marketing TikTok. Like I'll be taking new tips from other small businesses, or like even big businesses. Like Nasko, he did this yesterday. He pulled up the Apple website. He was like, you see the aesthetic, you see how it looks. Like we take inspiration from literally anything. And just the fact that you're always learning and trying to expand, that's what I've learned, that like I'm never gonna stop learning. And I like that about having our business, because there's always room to grow. Like there's not a cap, and that's just been the biggest takeaway from me.
Yeah. So, you know, something that we ask everybody, all of our guests on Young and Hungry, is how they've been affected by Corona, because I know that, you know, a lot of these people that are guests on our show, podcast, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, a lot of them, like you guys, have started, you know, in the midst of this time, you know. I know that we did, and honestly, it was a bad idea a little bit. Like it was not a great economy, and still is not, but we just decided, you know, to pursue our idea anyway and just take what comes with it, because literally like we said earlier, like there's never like a great time to do any of this stuff, you know, life's always busy. And so how has COVID affected you guys?
Well, I think something we had to change our price point, because we wanted to have our prices higher, but then we realized we felt kind of bad asking for a little, even though it's just a little bit of the difference. Like $2 can make a big difference for someone that has like only $20 in the checking account, you know. So we had to change our price point, and we had to like get more feedback from people to see like what they would be willing to pay, what they would be willing to pay for a phone case specifically, because it's not necessarily a necessity, because it's a custom phone case. No one's gonna be like, I need this to survive. It's not on the priority list. Like COVID has definitely impacted people, like how much money they make. Some people don't have jobs. Like a lot of my friends, they're not working anymore because their company, their job closed, or like things aren't open. So we had to take more perspective, like money wise, but we still wanted to start because we knew right now is the time we have the most time in general, because it was a summer. We had to be stuck at home. We could FaceTime every day. Obviously we're still busy, but we had more time. So that was kind of a positive end. And then the negative was that obviously we're not going to be able to grow as much because people aren't spending as much money in the economy right now.
For sure.
Yeah. And just like kind of not talking about money too. It's like Isabel mentioned, we did pretty much FaceTime every day since like she proposed the idea to me and for me to jump on. But I think I do love these like online platforms where I get to collaborate. Like all my internships were online and I was a part of teams. But with me and Isabel, like I think we get a lot more accomplished and just like vibe a lot more in person. And so it was just hard for us to coordinate with the midst of Corona, just like being like, are you safe? Are you safe? And then when we got the equipment is in Isabel's house. So I can't make any cases in my house as of yet. Hopefully in the future, we can buy a second set of equipment for me. But sometimes I would just like maybe I want to make some cases because Isabel's busy and I'm free. So that's just like some things we maneuver with. And then that comes with like respecting each other's time. Like I know she's busy, so she can't make the cases, even though we have like open orders, but that's fine. Like I might come one Saturday and we like get all the cases done then. So that was just like another barrier that we had to kind of manage.
Okay,
but it wasn't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think I have the perfect anecdote for respecting each other's time. This was literally yesterday before, and so our new collection dropped today. So I've been practically living at Kara's house for the last like week. I mean, I already lived there, but it was like really living there pretty much. And yesterday we both have internships, we both have classes. So as much as we would love to put all our time in this business, we are still trying to grow in our own chosen careers. And we did a photo shoot. We came home. I'm editing images. Kara's in a meeting. She comes back from the meeting. I go to my meeting while she does something. And then we literally didn't see each other. Like we were in the same house. And then I was like, all right, gotta go. I have to go somewhere else. And I like left at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. But it's like, when she's busy, I'll work. When you're busy, when I'm busy, you work, and like, yeah, totally. So,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I agree with you. Like those, I don't want to say pros, but like, the things that, the areas that you were able to like optimize because of the current circumstances, like, and then, the things that were difficult, like totally agree. Like we have had the same thing. And I will say that I've found from most of our guests, the reason why a lot of them have started during this time that we've been quarantined is because, like we've all been pushed a little bit more to be creative because we all have more time. Like literally we're all so busy normally, like, think about our group, like we're in school, we have classes all the time. And then on top of classes, like, especially like in college, like you're trying to recruit, you're trying to interview, you're trying to, get leadership positions, different things like that, and like, I know that we can get so caught up, or at least I know I can get really caught up in all the things I'm doing at school. And I think that, it's really great for us to all have a little bit of time, as horrible as the circumstances are. And, obviously this is not preferable, but I think it is good that the world has been forced a little bit to slow down so that we can all take a little bit of time, like a step back and realize like, okay, my education is extremely important to me, but there are some other things in life. And like, like for you guys, one thing that we're passionate about is creating our own little entrepreneurial endeavor and giving back. And like, and I think it's really great that we've all had the time to both be creative and to pursue those creative, visions.
Yeah. And just speaking of COVID, it's been really hard. I think it's been hard to kind of think of the future. I think in the beginning of quarantine, we were like, oh, it'll be 3 months. And then now I'm just like, there's no hope in sight. We'll open when we open. I'm one of the most optimistic people I know. And I'm like, whatever, like it's going to open when we open. So it's gotten to that point. So like, we really don't know where the future is, like how businesses are going to open, how the economy is going to get back on itself. And so that's one part. And another part, by starting really young in a business, I've heard a lot of people when I talk to them about it, I've heard multiple people ask me, oh, what do you think your business is going to be like in 5 years? Or is this something for the future? Or are you just doing this for COVID? Or are you just doing this for fun? Is it just like a side hustle? So I'm going to put that question on you guys. Like, since we don't know what the future is like, and you are young, and this is a question that I've been getting, so we wanted to ask to you guys, what is the future of your company, and where do you see yourselves in 5 years? Is this a long-term thing, or is this we'll take it day by day?
Well, I want to start off by saying this is something we kind of disagreed with at the beginning. So we still have this discussion like almost every day. Like obviously Nasko and I are willing to work with each other no matter what, but like you said, COVID has really changed how we view this business. Like, yes, you're always going to want your business to last as long as possible, especially if you're have some sort of impact and you're really enjoying it. Like, I want this to be like a forever thing. But with the economy and not being sure like exactly what's going to happen, we kind of are just taking it day by day and putting those dates like, hey, we're going to have this released this day. We're going to keep growing, like keep making designs until something stops us. I don't know.
Yep. Like, I call it future vision. I really like that word. And we do have the discussion every day. I think going with the flow, like Rai said, was, just like it will open when it will open. And with the business, it's like, you know, it will like boom when it booms, and it will stop when it stops. I think Isabel, since this is like her baby, like she probably has like a lot, like she wants to like put in a lot more than like I would, just because, not that I'm not passionate about it, like this is definitely a side hustle that I am passionate about, but just it's like the idea was sparked from her and she pushed it onto me. But for me personally, I just think of like small future vision ideas, such as like in the future I would like our website to like have maybe reviews for customers. I would like the Instagram to, you know, reach like our first threshold for now is like we're hoping for 500 soon, then maybe like 1,000, then like, you know, 5,000. So just small goals like that is how I like to, what is the word, like compartmentalize, fragmentize sort of like the whole future vision view. Because like, to be honest, if somebody asked me like how are you going to be involved with WOCASE in like 5 years, I would be like, I don't know. And you know, it's kind of like the question when people ask you like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up, and it's like, I don't know, like so it's very similar, especially in such uncertain times.
So sorry, were you gonna go ahead?
Oh, I kind of struggle with like not knowing exactly what like where it's gonna be. Like it's kind of frustrating where you don't know like the exact, or like what can you expect, or like from someone. But it's just something that we've had to take like, I've had to take a step back and be like, it's gonna be okay. Like we're doing good things. Like we're not doing anything that every single day is going to be better. And as long as every single day I'm putting a little bit more and I'm improving something, and even if some days that are setback, learn from those setbacks. And like I'm learning again, like I really like learning, and at the end of the day I'm learning from every little thing. Even if we do make a mistake, even if like 1 month we don't make any profit, or like we make some mistake, like we buy something that's wrong, and we're just learning. And that's I believe that in 10 years I'm going to thank myself from that, and 30 years and 40 years that at least I tried something that I could see myself doing in the future.
Yeah. Okay. I have to just like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, you know, for me as well, like this, everything going on has been difficult because I struggle with the same thing. Like I actually, honestly, Ryan and I both are big planners. Like we're very organized. Like we like to schedule, this is the time on the days that we're going to be meeting, and this is the exact times that we're going to be posting things like that. Like we're both just a little bit like ridiculous, if we're being honest. But you know, I think that having that mindset is like really great. So for me, I know that, you know, I went into this, I have no idea if people are going to like our designs. Like I truthfully have no idea. Like I try my best. Like we try our best in collaboration to produce products that we think people will like. And, you know, like for example, our first collection was called the Cozy Collection, and it was all based off of things that people can use during quarantine. Like we released sweatshirts and we released t-shirts and sweatpants, and that was the bulk of what we released because people are home. Like they're not going to be wearing like these beautiful products or anything big, you know? And so, but I totally agree with you. Like my mindset has always been, you know, all I know is that every day I learn from this, and regardless of what happens in the future, you know, I know that I've learned so much by just getting my hands on this, you know, and starting this project. But that being said, you know, like we still have intentions for the future. So I guess like I would like to, you know, kind of ask this question in a different way. What are your intentions then, I guess, moving forward? You know, because obviously we can't really predict what's going to happen, but you guys know what you are going to do or what you plan to do? Not, and that's fine. I'm just curious.
Wait, so like what do you, I think like we want to keep releasing new things. We want to grow this. Like in the future, I would like to see, even if so right now we get to 4 organizations, because what we didn't want to do is have like 10 organizations and then we only donate like $20 per organization, and then it's like it's not making as big of an impact. So we feel like if we split it up like that, but if we get a lot more sales and we get a lot more people, we could have like 10 organizations to choose from, and all of them would be getting $200. Like if it's really big, like if it's growing, like we want to be able to help as many people as possible. And something we talked about a little bit is that there's a big difference between like currently like big brand companies and like nonprofits that don't really get a lot of recognition at all. So big companies are not giving like a percentage. If they give a percentage, it's like very small, like 2% of like this one product that they're selling is going to go towards a cause. And the nonprofits are putting out everything, but they're not really growing that much because people like they usually don't have a product that. So when you donate to a nonprofit, you usually don't get something in return. So not as many people are willing to put in that money. So we kind of wanted to merge that gap between like nonprofits and like branded companies, and that's why we kind of created like the brand like woke. So we wanted people to, in the future, I want to be that merger, like that combination between you're helping, but you're also like getting something good, and you're like building a legacy of a brand.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. And I'm very excited to see, you know, the future of what you guys, of what case and like what you guys continue to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of wrapping up a little bit though, one thing that we really like or hope from Young and Hungry is that people who are aspiring to do, you know, whatever endeavor our guests are doing can maybe find some inspiration, get some great insight from these podcast interviews. And so my first question is, what is some advice that you could give to somebody who is looking to get into the same industry and do the same type of thing that you guys are?
I guess I know that, I don't know, maybe the way my responses were worded, I don't sound like much of a planner. I kind of go with the flow, but I am very much also a planner, like Isabel and Yukara and Rai. Like, so I think one thing is just like, we were talking about like the spontaneity of just like starting this idea. But obviously you can't like in one night create this shop and like this brand. So I think my advice for like first steps of an idea is plan it out. Start planning it out with like a person that you trust, you know, somebody who wants to be your partner. When Isabel came to this idea with me, like I think our second meeting, we already started talking about like how are they produced, like, and on our own time we were like, how are they produced, like how much do we want them to cost, who will make these designs, what, like how much money do we have to put into this. So again, like we are people who organize, but maybe somebody who like is not much of an organizational person, like just small steps like that, you know, like sitting down and putting yourself to write stuff down and know all these small ideas and how you want them to tie them up together.
I think the biggest takeaway I would like someone to take from this is like, at the end of the day, you're investing in yourself and like yourself, like how you're growing, and it is your company, but you're also learning so much from it. So don't be afraid, because like people throw up to $70,000 a year at college, and you not necessarily will get a good job. My AirPods. You might not necessarily, like, you're investing in yourself when you're education. You're investing in yourself when you also like take business classes outside, or if like in your business, like this is all also for personal growth. And to not be so scared. Yes, it is an investment, but right now is the best time, especially when you're young and you're hungry and you like are willing to put in that time and effort. Because once life, like you start like if you have kids, if you are going to get a master's degree, if you're going, like life just happens, and it's going to be a lot harder to start a business later on. So I would just push people to invest in themselves and put time in themselves.
That's great advice. I think both of this advice should be taken for anyone who's starting out. It's a good and bad thing that Kara and I are very avid planners. Like we always have things that are ready. We're thinking like at least 2 months into the future, what our plans are, everything. But we also have to remember that we don't know when we post this new collection how that's going to be. Like we're prepared for it to work really well, but we hope that it works, but we don't know. So I think for anyone who's starting a business, that's great advice to just be organized, but also don't let your plans like dictate what you're doing. Like be a little bit, go with the flow and understand, and just like feel it out and look at your customers, but still have a plan, because that's going to help you in the future, just being organized.
Yeah. And if might just add one last thing, I think it's so great that all of us are very optimistic, and like, you know, like when we release a new line of cases or like a new brand, we're like so prepared for like our customers to like it. But I think one big thing in like the planning and preparation process is also talking about like failure, you know, like how might this fail? I personally, like in college, Princeton doesn't have many business classes. So I tried some of their classes that do sound a lot businessy, and the seminar class was about failure. And I really learned a lot from it, saying how like every big company should have a small discussion about failure. Personally, when we were very much into the planning process, I asked the question to Isabel, like, you know, what if like we start in August and like it just like doesn't happen? And then just having that conversation is like really helpful. And then not necessarily like maybe having like an action plan, but just, you know, opening up to the possibility of like that fear, just so I feel like even talking about it kind of eliminates that fear of like people maybe not liking it.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Mm-hmm. And I think Kara and I have, anytime a new collection comes out, honestly, like every week, we're like, hopefully we'll sell, and hopefully we have these like financial things that we need to meet in order to break even. And we both have talked about like, yes, we want this to work and we're going to put all of our time and energy behind it and let's see what happens. But at the end of the day, like if it doesn't, like we're not putting like our self-worth on this company, and we're going to be okay. Like even if it doesn't work, but we're going to hope for, we're going to 200%, we're going to hope that it's going to work. But we also have to be prepared for the fact that it might not work, because you never know until you release it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then our final question for you guys is, we would love to know what has been the most rewarding part of this incredible journey that you guys have, started.
Well, I will say definitely, since we're taking the philanthropic side, like being able to actually reach out to companies and be like, we're gonna be donating this month this much to you guys, that just feels so nice. And then we actually have one of the organizations, Coral Gardeners, like this, they actually react to every time we post them on our story, like we explain what their company is, like when we're donating, and that's just so rewarding to know that they know that we're helping them and they feel supported. And especially smaller organizations like the Venezuela one or like the Yemen Foundation, like they don't really get that marketing, like I kind of a little bit about. So it's just so rewarding to know that we're helping those organizations get more funds and be able to help people and actually see the results, because they post where that money is going every day.
No, that's definitely like same for me, like 1,000%, just having that actual impact, because we do donate at the end of the month. So we haven't even made our first donation yet, but like I personally can't wait until like August 31st when we like actually make those payments out, and then seeing how like the organization reacts. But one other thing for me that is just very fulfilling is, and we've mentioned this several times, is like working with like my best friend, somebody who knows me personally, and now also like analyzing and like giving me feedback on like my business self. Because it's like oftentimes when you go into like your career or whatever, like it's like people with strangers, and sometimes like a beginner's perspective is really important to like improve something. But with somebody who you've known for a while, all of a sudden you make that switch to like a business side. It's like, oh, I didn't know that about them, or like that's shocking, or maybe like, you know, they aren't like this personally, or like maybe this personal part of themselves shouldn't be put into the business. And just I'm learning this, like just personal development myself, and I think it's like we said, like growth, like learning day by day about it. I think that's also very fulfilling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get it. Me too. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for being here. We are really, really honored to have you guys as some of our guests on Young and Hungry. Well, actually, first of all, would you guys like to say your social media handles so that anybody listening or watching can go check you guys out?
Sure. Well, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at WokeCase, and then our actual website is www.wokecase.com.
Yeah. Well, I'll just finish what I was going to say.
I thought you were going to say something.
No, sorry. I was just going to say thank you guys. I learned so much just in this talk, just like I do in literally every single episode we've had. I just learned so much about, the people that I speak with and how amazing my peers are. Like that's every single time I walk away thinking, they inspire me so much. And like, it really inspires me, that you guys are doing this amazing thing. And not only that you're working like closely with one of your best friends, and not only that you guys are like pouring, even if it is Isabel's baby, obviously you're working really hard, and that's very apparent because your guys' website and all your stuff looks so professional, so amazing, so creative. But I think it's amazing that you're also giving back to something and to really important causes. And I think that, I looked at your website when I first saw it, when Nasko first reached out to me, and your Instagram, and I've been following it since. And, I can't wait to see what you guys do in the future. But for now, I thank you guys for your insight. And I know that, any listeners, whether they want to do something with phone cases or not, can take a lot of insight about what you guys said away from them. And we just are really appreciative for that, on this segment.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming on. We, like I said at the beginning, we just want our viewers and listeners to have insight from all types of business people, be that we've had sole proprietors, we've had influencers, we've had now partnerships, and just every business is very multifaceted and can offer a lot of insight. And I've learned so much through this talk. I think after every podcast that we film, Kara and I talk about, we're like, oh my God, they're doing that. We should be doing this. Like, It's been so cool. Like, it's just been like, I think it's been incredibly beneficial for just like us, like on a personal level, just to hear from you guys. So thank you so much. And we just want to wish you so much luck for the future. We hope that you can raise a lot of money to donate to all the different charities of your choosings. And you guys are just doing such great work. I'm so fascinated and impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you for having us. All the
Yeah.
same to you in the same way. We were
Yes.
so like honored for when Cara texted me about this opportunity. I was like, this is like great. Like, yeah. So it means so
Yeah.
much to us as well.
Thank you guys for doing this. This is definitely gonna help like any person that's trying to start a small business or anything like that. Everyone go follow Young and Hungry.
Thank you. We hope so.
Leudic.
We hope this platform can grow into that, just to help, you know, empower and recognize our peers and hopefully inspire ones that want to do the same type of stuff. But you know, like, you know, Isabel actually just said, for us, this platform wants to support young and new professionals and businesses. So for anybody listening or watching, sorry, for some reason I keep stumbling on that. If you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. You can do this by leaving your thoughts or suggestions in the comments of our YouTube page. You can DM us on Instagram or Facebook at Leudic Shop. That's LEUDIC Shop. Or you can just email us at ludicshop@gmail.com. Please give us your suggestions, because anybody that you know that's working really hard, we would absolutely love to have them on Young and Hungry, so that we can recognize how amazing how amazing they are and the amazing things that they're doing.
We hope you all enjoyed this new installment. We've certainly been having a lot of fun and just learning so much about our peers and how amazing, all the amazing things that you all are doing. So make sure you follow us on our socials, as Cara said, at Leudic Shop, so that you stay up to date on our new content, on our new collections, on new Young and Hungry episodes, on new blog posts, and everything in between. So until next time, thank you so much for coming on. Nasko and Isabel, you've been great guests, and thank you for all those who've watched and listened.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay young and hungry and keep hustling, guys. Bye.
Check out Woke
Bye.
Cake.
Thank you. Thank you.